Okay, I'm going to try to help everyone here learn how to tie some nooses onto a BC hawk trap. I've watched quite a few videos about it and watched several people tying knots and so forth, none of which I've been very excited about using, and so I decided I was going to use what I've been using in the past, but perfect it a little better, which is sort of in my nature to perfect things. So anyway, I've been a falconer for 23 years, so I've done a decent amount of trapping, and so I finally feel like I got something that's fantastic, and it involves a lot of stuff, and one of them is doing it really perfectly like I'm going to tell you. Otherwise, it doesn't really work as well. So first of all, I'm going to just show you on this line, and Marianne's going to zoom in here. I'll try to get the background a little better. Hope you can see it. And this is the basic knot that I'm going to use. What you want to do is, first of all, you want to have a nice long piece so that when you go to tie it onto the trap, you'll be able to have a lot of line to work with. So I'm using probably close to 24 inches of line with each noose. All right, so the first thing I do is I'm just going to tie an overhand knot to the very end. And I'm going to do this with the real line real quick. So you're going to tie just an overhand knot right here on the end, and then clip. Hit pause it real quick. You're going to cut off, not all the way at the end of this knot, but you're going to cut off, and I use clippers with the real line, but it doesn't cut this very well. So you're going to cut it off real close to your knot. Got that? Show good? Okay. So then we're going to just basically tie we're going to tie an overhand knot around the line right here. So just go around. Now I'm just going to come under and back over, and just, like I say, I'm tying an overhand knot right there. And then I'm going to pull this up tight. And this little knot on the end is going to serve to keep this from slipping back through, and you don't have to make a bunch of knots. So see how that is right close. All right, and that will keep it from slipping. Then we're going to slide it up, and we're going to form a little bitty noose. I'm going to leave this exaggerated a little bit. It's really getting at the right size is important, which I'll show you when we do the real line, how big that is. So, and then we're just going to come back through here, and now we've got a noose. All right, the noose, when I do it, is going to be about, you want a noose it's about 1 inch. You don't want a noose that you can have that he'll be able to put his toe through and pull it out and back and forth. You want the right size noose so that when it hits, it's going to want to tighten up. Not too small that he's going to not be able to get in it either. So, all right. So the next important thing is you don't want this knot to want to slide real big and get open, all right, like this. So what I perfected on this one is to tie a knot. I'll try to lay this out. I'm just going to tie a regular knot, all right, and we're going to slide this knot up, and this is going to serve to keep this. We're going to make a knot right into this area right here that's going to keep this whole system that we're making from wanting to slide and get really big. It'll give us a stopping point. So what I did is we're going to tie it, I think it's called a surgeon's knot if I'm not mistaken. So you got one overhand knot, and then you're going to go right back through after you get it into place. And this is important because if you go around twice early too soon, you can't move this knot up and down. So I've got it about positioned where for this demonstration, and we're going to pull it through again. Now we've got like 2, all right? Now if you pull this right, and with this line, you have to wet everything that it did with a little spit. I'm not going to do that right now, or something to lubricate it a little bit. Now you want to pull on both sides, and you're going to see it tighten up, all right? And it's going to form something that's going to allow basically for the line to stay straight and not get at a crooked angle like this. If you do it wrong, you won't be able to do that. So it won't stay in this position. So this is what you're going to have. when you're done. And then I'm going to show you on the trap the type of knot that's going to allow these things to stand up and not lay over. And I do a lot of fishing, and that's where I came up with this. I'll just do it here on this part of the trap. You want to come, through and back over like this, all right? And you want to do it on where two of the wires cross, so it won't slide up and down this way, and it'll want to rotate easy. What we're going to do is tie just a basic, it's called a clinch knot, I believe, in fishing, and not opposed to an improved clinch knot. So you're going to go a couple of times. Normally in fishing you go 5 times around. I found if you use this line, fluorocarbon is sort of sticky, and knots will hold so much better than on monofilament line, and that's important. That's why I suggest this line. It's a hybrid, it's sticky, it won't abrade, so it won't break off, or it won't on the trap start wearing. They use it as a leader to keep things from getting broken, your line breaking over rocks and things like that. So it's very tough line. So basically 2 or 3 times around with this line will work. I suggest you put it on there and make a few experiments and just pull on it real hard to see if it'll slip. You know, I do as little as possible, quite honestly. So then we're going to go back through the bottom. Let me do this one more time. We went 2 times around, then we got a loop right here. We're going to go right through that, and this is what it clinches on, where it came from. And make sure you don't pull this first. That will screw it up, the knot. You want to pull this one first and this one at the same time, and it's going to cinch down like this. All right, and then you can pull this like this, and you will have a knot that you can move, and it will stand up. You see how that's wanting to stand up? So when we're done, all your nooses are going to be standing straight up like this, or pretty much like this. So when he goes down through, you want to make sure that it actually grabs him. Because I sit there and watch videos where hawks are, he's got a camera on the trap, and the hawk's going bam, 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 hitting it. He's not getting caught for several minutes. And the reason is because you don't want these loops. And I'm going to show this on the other line here, okay? Because it works better to show what's going to happen. So, all right, here we go on the real line. Tell me if this doesn't show up. We're going to cut off, like I said, about a pretty good piece. That's so close to 2 feet. Better too much than not enough. And I'm going to tie overhand knot on the end. Then I'm going to put a little spit on it, grab it, pull it tight. Got a good tight knot there. If you don't, because we're going to clip this off. Again, tell me if you can't see me, babe. I'm going to clip it off real close, like a 1/16 of an inch sticking out. Can you see that good? All right, cut off that little piece. Now we're going to tie the overhand knot, just like I showed you. Got an overhand knot right. I'm sorry, you saw how to do this on the other, so I'm not going to worry about how great it shows up on this camera, this video here, this part. All right, so we just got a little knot, and I'm going to pull this tight. I'll wet it. And now I don't want, if you leave this little piece sticking out right here, it'll catch on so many nooses and so many things. So what I do is I try to make sure that this is pulled up, so none of that is sticking out, all right? It's all tight. It's a good tight knot, if you can see that good now. All right, you don't have anything sticking out here to catch on other lines, other nooses and so forth. Then I'm gonna wet it, and it's sticky line when it's not wet, but you can slide it up now. And you're going to make a little bitty noose here. Now, I just got this tool. You can use a nail, find the right size nail maybe or whatever. Put it on here, and then I just pull it tight to the perfect size. I'm just using this tool to show you the idea. Pull it tight. Now we have a tiny noose. I'm going to go back through, and we've got a noose. All right, so see how this noose is not, this is important, it's not making a circle. So what you want to make sure is that when you tie this next part is that it actually is like, I think I've got it backwards. Let me pull it out. I'm going to pull it back out because it really needs to form a loop, not sort of an oval shape or teardrop shape. All right. There we go. Now that's what it should look like. Be careful not to do the other, otherwise it won't slip up as easy. All right, see how that? But it's slightly sticky, not too much. You don't want it to spring open. You don't want to be able to have a toe go through there, shut, and then pop right back open. And some of the other knots that I saw, that's exactly what it was doing. I mean, it was just opening back up. So Hawk grabs it. He's not going to catch himself. The second thing is you want this noose to be about 1 inch, that size. You want it to be 1 inch. You don't want it gigantic. I see nooses this big. You don't want it that way. You want it 1 inch, and you want to be precise about it. You know, you don't have to take a ruler out. But all right. So the next thing we're going to do is tie the other knot to form our barrier from opening. So I just do that this way. Take your overhand knot, again, slide it up there close where you're going to get it. All right, now I've got the noose almost made. Now I'm going to go back through the second time. All right. So this is what it looks like now. Can you see that all right? All right, so again, we're gonna pull it. I'm gonna wet it. Got it wet. And you wanna try to keep this knot, pull them at the same time on this knot. And it will tighten up like that. You wanna grab it, pull these, cinch these down tight like this, and then you'll have that formed. And then you can slide this down. Looks like I probably made this one hair too big, but not much. It's not size. That'll work. And there you go. That's what it'll look like. And it'll stop it from opening up and having gigantic nooses. You'll have the perfect size noose every time. Now, to tie it on, I'm going to go do this one more time. We'll do it right here. Oh, by the way, if you need a curl, you just take your thumbnail. You know it to curl just a little bit so it goes through the wire. Just take your thumbnail. Learn this in fishing. It'll make a little curl on it. It'll make it easier to come through and grab here. Pull it up. We're going to go around. I'm going to do this quick for this video's sake, maybe 3 times. And then back around this way. All right, now again, pull this first. I'm gonna have to wet it, a little spit. It does not like to slide easily. All right, so we're gonna pull this hard. Then I'm gonna pull here tight. Now the beauty of this is I'm not worrying about tying this perfectly. I would normally tie it much shorter, down to about this much sticking out. You want this at the end of the day. I'm just trying to hurry this for this video. You want this to be about 1 inch or so off the trap so that when he comes down and tries to grab it, he actually gets his toe caught here. If you get it too long up here, you'll find more problems with it getting around other nooses when you throw it out the window, however you may do it, so that these won't get tangled up. You want them just slightly off the trap and setting up like this so that when he comes down and grabs, he's caught. I can't even tie nooses on my trap without getting caught by my own nooses all the time. So that's the way it should be. And then again, this knot will allow you to move your, it's sticky enough in the way it is, it'll actually, you can pull it around and place it where you want it to go. If you really want to do things right, then you can actually take a little bit of hot glue and get that knot set up perfectly and melt a little bead right there. But it's another barrier. It's sort of shiny or white looking, and so you'd have to like color it or something like that. Another thing when you get this hardware cloth I learned is you can spray it with a little bit of vinegar, salt water, and that will take the shine off the trap and bring the sheen down. And so that's the basic idea, but the main purpose of this video is to show you how to make a really, really good noose that's going to get the bird. You have to drive 500 miles to find that perfect bird. You don't want to lose it. You're only going to get one shot if he comes down. Then it just gets harder and harder for you new falconers. So anyway, that's basically it, and I'm really happy with the way this. Here's one I did earlier that's right, by the way. I took the time to do it right, how it stands up. You can see he comes down, hits it, he's going to get caught. So, and the noose is, you know, it will stay kind of closed, you know. If it pulls up, it doesn't just spring back open. So the size of this little loop is important here too. You don't want it too big and too small. You want it where it just is right. All right, that's it. Hope you guys enjoy. Hit the like button and share, as they say.